May, the board directed that the Board Attorney's Office and Mr. Kenny Lewis, who is part of the administration, present a report every month on the activities of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee, or CJCC. Beginning in June, Mr. Lewis started compiling some numbers as to who is in the jail and how long those individuals have been there, so that we can observe trends and figure out where the challenges are in the system in terms of moving folks along. I'm going to let Mr. Lewis start with his numbers, and then I've got a couple of other things to share. The board had asked me about the most recent CJCC meeting, and I will update the board from that.
Good morning, board. We have a picture before you. And these numbers were compiled starting on 8/16, which was last Thursday. And you see there that the numbers, I call them residents instead of inmates, in our jail totaled at 658. The number that really disturbs me in that number is, I added one to Henry Young, but we have 17 juveniles that's been charged as adults, 9 of which are non-indicted, not indicted, 8 are indicted. And as you go down, you'll see the inmates in jail between the ages of 18 to 21. We had an increase of 4, so we're at 95 as of last Thursday. The next number you'll see is the inmates in jail that are unindicted, which is 357, which we had an increase of 27 from the last time we met in July. Inmates in jail 30 days or more unindicted, we had an increase of 7, which the total number is 146. Now, most states gives 30 days to indict a resident or someone that's arrested. We, as in the state of Mississippi, give 90 days. And this number here is really an issue, because if you can't indict somebody in 90 days, either you got a bad case or you don't know what you're doing. So most states give 90 days, and we're one of the few states, give 30 days, we're one of the few states that give 90 days to indict people. The inmates that or residents that's in jail that's been indicted but hadn't been to trial, we're sitting on 108, which we had a number 3 increase right there. And then you'll see misdemeanor inmates, residents at the work center, we had an increase of 4, we're at 19 right now. So these are some of the numbers that were requested, and somebody told me a long time ago, data don't lie. So this is not something I heard or somebody told me. This is the raw data of what we're dealing with in our jail. Any questions?
I'll open it up to the board for questions or comments.
How many people are out in the community that have been arrested and have not been indicted? Do you have that information?
No, ma'am. I don't.
Can you get that information?
I don't know if we can compile that information, because what we're mainly concerned about, especially saving you all, myself, and the rest of these citizens here, money that are being spent in the jail. So my main focus is the jail.
What type of individuals that are under the house arrest program, what type of crimes have been committed? Those individuals that wear ankle bracelets and have been sentenced, I won't say sentenced, but have been placed under house arrest.
Usually the stipulation is a non-violent offender, sometimes first offenders, but sometimes we had one individual that came through that had a violent charge, but the judge, after reading the facts and circumstances, understood that the charge would be the crime, so to speak. So that individual was sent home on ankle murder. So I don't have a number, but we have, usually we just give non-violent offenders to release them back into the community.
These numbers, are they reflective of all three facilities in Hinds County?
Yes, sir, Mr. Grant, they are. And you can see a breakdown where I have, out of the 658 in the Raymond Detention Center, it's 386. The Jackson Detention Center is 101. And at the Work Center is 155. And at Henry Young, your paper will reflect 16. I added one. Day after I compiled this list, we had a juvenile that was arrested, so it's 17 there at Henry Young, which totals 658.
Thank you.
I have a question or a comment that was raised to this question. Tell me if I'm looking at this right.
Okay.
On the front page, you've got 142 inmates that have been there for 1 year to 2 years, and 43 inmates 2 years, 3 years. 8 inmates over 3 years, and 7 inmates over 4 years. So if I add that all together, that's exactly 200 inmates that we have housed for at least a year as of today.
Mr. Board President, your eyes don't deceive.
200 people that have been in our detention centers for at least a year.
Yes, sir.
And conservatively, I've been told $50 per day to house a prisoner. The guarding, the feeding, medication, all the things that are involved. For 200 inmates, $50 a day for 365 days, that's $3.6 million that we as taxpayers have paid to house these people for over a year.
And let me stop right there. And not one of those people has ever been found guilty of any crime. That's $3.6 million of these folks' money to house the accused, not the guilty, the accused.
So that's $3.6 million just for the detainees that have been there for a year or more. And that does not even include the 458 that have been there less than a year.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. That would pave a lot of roads. That would fix a lot of bridges. $3.6 million.
Yes, sir.
Just for fun, made extra copies of this if you find it audience. Take a copy.
Mr. President,
Could you put these up?
2 more statistics that board members and any members of the public who look at this need to pick up on page 2. 50%. 50%. Remember, all these folks are accused. They haven't been found guilty. But half of the accused haven't even been indicted. So instead of fixing roads and bridges and drainage, we're paying to have folks who are accused and unindicted sitting in jail. Of that, 22%, or almost a quarter of who we're paying for in this county, have been unindicted for more than a year and sitting in the jail. Now look, y'all, we know some of these folks are criminals. We know some of them are charged with some serious crimes. We need to prosecute those crimes and prosecute those people and move them on.
Mr. President, I attended the National Association of Counties Conference last month. And one of the sessions that I attended dealt with our criminal justice system. One county presenter that came before us said that prior to that particular county creating a criminal justice coordinating committee, a committee that consisted of judges, district attorney, public defender, boards of supervisors, and the Jackson Police Department, and all other entities involved within the criminal justice system, that they had over 5,000 detainees. But when they came together and worked to solve some of the problems that they had, they were able to reduce their jail population from 5,000 down to 1,500. As a result, saving the taxpayers millions of dollars and clearing their court dockets, reducing, again, their jail population.
The key word you used was they came together.
They came together.
And that's what I think Mr. Graham asked a question last month. What was the biggest issue that I saw in my investigation on these numbers, and it's that we don't have a complete collaborative effort at identifying these problems. And if we could come together, just like you said, we could reduce those numbers down.
We have a collaborative effort, and for the past 2 years, or maybe 3 years, some of us have met and created what we call a criminal justice coordinating committee. But you have to have all entities involved. And if you have one key person that's not participating or part of that committee, it's as though you're not going to move forward. And you're not going to produce the results that are so badly needed. And the results are to move individuals through our criminal justice system and reduce our jail population and savings to our taxpayers.
Supervisor McWhorter has a comment or a question, but before I recognize that, Attorney Taylorson, since we have some new people in the audience, could you give a little background about the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and why it was formed as part of our compliance with this consent decree that we're under?
As I hope everyone in the public knows, Hinds County is under a consent decree with the Department of Justice with respect to jail conditions in Hinds County. As we went through the process with the Department of Justice, it became evident to not only Hinds County, but also the Department of Justice, that a lot of the reason we have conditions of confinement issues is because we confine people too long. And those parts of the system are not parts that the Board of Supervisors can control. So we negotiated in a criminal justice coordinating committee, hoping to get the judges, the district attorney, the public defender, and other stakeholders involved, the city of Jackson, to figure out how do we streamline our process. We don't want anyone move through the system so quickly that their rights are trampled. But y'all, we trample on folks' rights by parking them down there in Raymond. And so this is an effort, hopefully, to move that along. I will say, though, that the effort has been hit or miss. I want to compliment the city of Jackson. It has sent either its chief administrative officer or the mayor's chief of staff to each of the meetings. They have demonstrated that they're committed. They don't necessarily have any solutions, but they want to be part of the solution. So I want to compliment the city of Jackson. I want to compliment the sheriff. He said, he told y'all he would come to the last meeting. He was at the last meeting. He participated and had some thoughts about what we could do. It's going to take everybody coming to the meetings, though. If you are an elected or appointed official in Hinds County that has anything to do with criminal justice, you got to show up and sit down and solve these problems. Do I make myself clear? Because, you know, it's some folks who are not showing up and y'all need to talk to them. Y'all are the voters. Y'all need to talk to them. They need to show up for these meetings. Yes, Mr. District Attorney, you're not showing up in the meetings. I know everybody wants the question answered. I'm going to put it out there. No. In the meeting before that, he sent one of his assistant ADAs, assistant district attorney. That's great. Could you send us one who's not running for a judgeship? Could you send us one who actually wants to solve the problem?
And make decisions. At that particular moment in time. We need decision makers, not the assistants who can't make decisions.
Now let me bring it down for y'all. If we incarcerate in Hinds County, the national average, we'd only have about 430 to 450 people in the county jails. That's the national average. That's where our population would put us. We're what, 668, 660 today? 658. We're still a third too high. And that's after this board has put folks on electronic monitoring, paying for that so the judges can do it. We still got to figure out how to make this criminal justice system work, y'all. I'm saying it, put it on TV, I'm saying it. We got to figure out how to make this work.
Attorney Tableson did a good job addressing my question. I'll now recognize Supervisor McWhorter.
We've come a long way with this from when I first came on the board, and we had the jails throughout the state. We have so many of them. Detainees stacked on top of each other. There's one picture that went out. And so those numbers have come down substantially since then. But again, it's still a major problem, major issue. I was out of town last week, and I received a text, and I received an email and a phone call from the news media wanting my opinion on an audit that had been requested of us and misappropriation of funds by the county, and I had no idea what that was referencing. And so I was able to find out a little later on that it's dealing with part of this right here. When Supervisor Morgan mentioned the fact that we're spending $3-point-something million on people averaging that are staying in our detention center, Mr. Davidson also alluded to the fact that we have people out on ankle monitor operations to about $500,000 as well. So that's $4 million a year that we are spending waiting to find out what's going to happen with somebody. Again, not that they've been found guilty, not been convicted or anything. We're waiting. If they are convicted, if they are found guilty, then it becomes the responsibility of the state, and that then they move into the state housing facilities and not the county. And again, for us to bear these costs, I don't know if those numbers that Supervisor Morgan mentioned take into consideration the amount of maintenance, repairs, the damages that are caused by people sitting there all day, not for a couple of weeks, but for years. The medical costs associated with it, there's a lot of costs, and it's extremely expensive to run a facility, a detention facility, and then to run one that's actually run like a minimum or maximum security jail, which is not. It is a detention center facility. So we're incurring some tremendous costs on a yearly basis just to deal with this. And so I would like to figure out what is taking so long to get so many of these detainees not moving through the system. What is it going to take for us to get that through? We've got our criminal justice system. We've got Mr. Lewis helping us to identify. We've come up with those things. We've got other alternative methods just to hold people so that we don't incur the medical expense associated with it. But if you hear bits and pieces of it, please take time out and look at the entire picture as to what we are dealing with. And the numbers are astronomical. That's what I should.
Thank you, Mr. Bob. You did bring up the comments last week about audit. We do get audited. BKD is actually a recognized firm. We got our audit report about 2 weeks ago with a clean report. Also got a letter dated August 10th from the MDA from the state of Mississippi informing us that this completed its review of our single audit reporting package. Did not disclose any issues. So we get audited all the time. So I don't know what he's talking about when he said he wants an audit. We get audited left and right. So if there's something he's aware of that we need to look into, you need to put it on the table.
And we also have our internal auditor, our chancellor clerk, Mrs. Hall. Now, I assure you, she will not sign off on any invoice that's not legitimate. We not going to jail?
I'll turn things back over to Attorney Davis.
The only thing I would add, I do think the public audit maybe isn't the right word, but the county publishes a budget every year. We would encourage the public to learn the budget. You need to know that 75% of what these good folks appropriate to the sheriff goes to detention. You need to know how much that these folks are spending to support a criminal justice system that's a state of Mississippi system. By our Constitution, circuit judges who prosecute criminal cases are employees of the state of Mississippi. The district attorney is an employee of the state of Mississippi. These folks support it. So I think, audit is there. Supervisor Morgan held it up. I would encourage people to look at the audit that has just been completed, look at how much the board budgets for these things, and then you'll understand why I spoke the way I did with passion about this. Y'all, I got folks on the back row, I've been to their neighborhood, they need drainage issues fixed. I'm trying to help solve that. Supervisor Calhoun has allocated money to do so. But when we get distracted on allegations and inefficiency, we don't provide the services that are sorely needed by all of you who pay your taxes here in Hinds County. Thank you.
Well said. Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Thanks for the update. We'll do it again next month. We have some guests. Ernest Ward, you want to bring your group home? I don't think you sit here for the whole meeting. Ward, thank you.
Morning, board members, President Board.